Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's YouTube video has got me back in Armored Warfare. Truth be told, a little bit of a confession for my wonderful subscribers. I haven't been playing World of Warships lately, and what you're seeing is the predominant reason for that. I've been playing a lot of Armored Warfare. The new patch dropped here just a few days ago on the 20th. But I'd been playing Armored Warfare even before the patch had dropped, and the reason I was doing that was just because I wanted to continue to play it. Take a little bit of a break from World of Warships, if you will. Well, the new patch dropped, and if you haven't played Armored Warfare in a while, and you're waiting for the Balance 2.0 patch, but you still haven't updated the game client and logged in yet, let me tell you, there's some pretty significant changes that have been made. And not only are there pretty significant changes that have been made, but the whole layout, whatever you thought you had in your garage, the premium camo, or the camo that you used gold to buy, the things like the battle-hardened status, crew skills, and vehicle tiers they've changed. They've all changed. And that was a bit of a shock to me. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that several of the tanks that I had, that I'd put permanent camo on, suddenly didn't have that camo anymore. The crews didn't have their skills anymore. And of course, the retrofits have all changed as well. They've basically narrowed it down to a very limited number of retrofits that you can choose. And they've changed how the retrofits work. The biggest change is that they're all now universal slots. So you can put anything anywhere you want on any vehicle. Which on one hand is, I think, a pretty fantastic thing. I mean, I definitely like the idea of having the ability to put the enhanced turret drive on all my vehicles. But that's the thing. The old Eastern European main battle tanks, the old Soviet and Russian main battle tanks system that they had, you had the universal slot, you had the firepower slot, and the upgrades that they had available with those slots, I mean, you really ended up gearing your retrofits on those Russian main battle tanks to, maximize that reload speed of the autoloader. And now you can only put one there because they only have one. There's no other reloading retrofits that you can add, so you can't, stack them as you used to do. And, of course, with all the crew skills being reset, you'd have to go back and, redo the crew skills and stuff. But because they changed things, your Russian main battle tanks, they don't have a loader, which means you don't have the loader crew skill to reduce the load time, because you have an autoloader. So that's basically been a global nerf to the Eastern European main battle tank line, and that's a little disappointing. However, that's a little bit of a buff to, well, pretty much all the other tanks, with the exception of the Chinese tanks. The Abrams, the Challenger, those vehicles now have a opportunity to increase their rate of fire to kind of compensate for their lower alpha damage of those 120 millimeter guns. The other thing they did was they added in a bunch of new vehicles, combined with changing the tiers of a lot of vehicles. Like there you can see at the beginning of the video that Bradley is now a tier 8, and that was not a tier 8 before the patch dropped. The Type 98 used to be a tier 8, and now it's a tier 7, which is why the camo reset. Incidentally, if the vehicle didn't change positions and tiers, the camo stayed the same and the crew didn't lose all of its skills. Well, didn't lose its level, just reset the skill that you had to pick. But they added in the new tank line, the T-80s. And I knew they were adding in the T-80B, and I was kind of looking forward to seeing the T-80B because I was hoping that it would have the ERA armor pack that the T-80 should have. And yes, sure enough, that's in here. That ERA armor pack is in here. But what surprised me is that they split the lines the way they did so that you can either go T-72 or T-64. They're now the same thing. They're not like, oh, well, the T-64, then the T-72. No, now you have to choose. And the T-72 line leads you ultimately to the T-90. And the T-80 line ends, it culminates here with the T-80U, but I have a feeling that's going to change in the future. They'll probably add the T-80UB and possibly add the T-84 to compete with the T-90MS. Now, before the patch dropped, I was not a fan of the T-80 in this game. I mean, I've played with the tank in some RTS games from so long ago, and I liked the vehicle, but the lack of VERA, the additional armor, really did kind of irk me, disappointed me, and especially considering that you were coming from the T-72A with its ERA pack to the T-80 that did not have it. Well, that's all been fixed. And I have to say that I absolutely love the T-80U. It's my new favorite tank in this game by a long shot. They've also changed the ramming mechanics in the game. And now ramming damage is based off of tonnage. But you do just a significant amount of damage regardless of your tonnage. So there are instances where I'm driving around in the T-80 here, and I will come up and ram a light tank, and I'll do 700 damage to it. I feel like in some battles I almost do as much damage through ramming as I do through the main gun. They definitely increased the damage values of the 125mm gun here, and you can definitely see that. One of the changes that they made when they changed the Eastern European main battle tank line that really disappoints me is the fact that they have the T-72A and they have the T-72B. The T-72A, formerly at Tier 7, now at Tier 6, and the B is at Tier 7. But the T-72B, fully upgraded with ERA packs, which come standard on it, looks and has the same exact stats as the T-72A. Which is really annoying to me, because I kind of feel like if you're going to do that, at least change the outward appearance, give it its T-72B, like, Romanian ERA armor package, rather than the same one as the A. But these are, of course, minor little details. The patch has brought some significant bugs with it, at least bugs that I've noticed. A couple of the things that I've noticed is if you type into the chat and hit enter, the moment you hit enter, it will bring up the escape screen to drop back to the garage. Like you're trying to exit the game and not actually finish typing the thought and send it to the team. So that's a little bit of an annoyance. And there are a few others. I think one bug has to do with the hard mode on the PvE. I understand that they wanted to make it more challenging, and that's certainly the case. It felt like the medium difficulty was disturbingly easy, and the hard mode, depending on your tank, especially as you got into the higher tier tanks, became disturbingly easy. But now, I go into my T90 MS, into the hard difficulty level on the PvE matchups, and it's insane. The PvE AI in hard difficulty will pick one tank and it will surround that one tank and it will just destroy that one tank and then it will move on. It really does make it very difficult. It's kind of like how the artillery used to be oh so long ago, where the artillery, whichever poor soul was the first son of a bitch to be spotted, got focused down for the entirety of the match until the artillery was dead. I feel like I'm getting a lot of reminiscent vibes of that with the hard mode PvE AI. It picks one person and that's the only thing it wants to shoot at and kill. Of course, that could also partly be due to the fact that the T90 MS feels like it got a little bit of a nerf, and it definitely does feel like it got a little bit of a nerf, as I think, again, why the T80U here has become my new preferred favorite tank. The T90 MS and the T90 just don't seem to absorb damage the same way that they used to, where the T80 and its particular brand of composite armor seem to just soak up damage like nobody's business. Of course, this could all change as they, bring out the hot patches and hot fixes for some of these errors and some of these bugs. However, contrary to what people were really hoping to see, the new patch has not increased the population in PvP.
We're good. The transport is waiting for us.
Which,
At the west side of the island.
That's partly to do with just the lower population in general in this game. It's not very well marketed or advertised. One of the big things to think about when trying to get PvP players is to actually market it to those players. But in time, I'm sure this will go. Again, they're still working out a lot of bugs, and if you marketed this game right now, I think there would be a lot of people kind of upset with it, and probably wouldn't want to come back and continue playing it. Oh, but that's just my observations at this point. So far, again, I'm loving the new tanks. I'm loving the T80 line, the T80U, just this fantastic and phenomenal vehicle. I was very taken aback, and if you haven't played the game in a while, you will probably be as well, to see vehicles changed the way they did, to see a lot of the changes in ricochet mechanics, like that shot there, to see, some of the vehicles that you had in your garage, suddenly they've changed tiers. The crews no longer have their skills, the camo's gone, but you have been compensated for it. You got a lot of credits back, and of course you got all of the gold back. And if you did spend credits to buy camouflage, permanent camouflage on a vehicle, that was just straight up compensated through gold, because apparently there was no way for my.com to know if it was purchased through credits or gold, so they just gave you the gold value, which was a reasonable thing. Anyway, that's it for today's YouTube video. if you like the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. I'll try and get back to my normal, regular, noob poning antics in World of Warships at some point here soon. But again, it's always nice to take a little bit of a break. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, I encourage you to do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. If you've got a World of Warships replay that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email address. And if you'd like to watch me play World of Warships Armored Warfare, among other games, live on Sundays at about 10 a.m., you can do so by liking and following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.